Aniki, a very good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Good, busy, but yeah, pretty good. I think team is on the right track.
Yes. I'll straight away start with the good news of this morning. We saw that the team has been ranked number 6 in the world. So how big is that an achievement? Because you guys have been working really hard.
Yeah, I'm very happy for the girls, and with Pro League, of course, world rankings are shifting more and more. But I feel like it's a show of where we're going with this team. And when I joined the Indian staff in 2020, after a couple months, I was like, I think this team can be a consistent top 6 country in the world. So it's nice to break into it. And now that's the first step. Now we have to make sure that we keep being there or even go a couple places higher, but that will take some time and some work.
Right. And talking about this year, earlier the team was supposed to, I think we were thinking that, a younger team would play the Commonwealth Games, but now because the Asian Games have been shifted to next year, so what have been the change in plan?
Yeah, I think for our team, coming back from my experience, the girls haven't really been exposed to a lot of top countries in the past years, playing the bigger tournaments. Pro League has tremendously helped. Tokyo, of course, has tremendously helped. But what I see is that as a player, you need that exposure against those top teams to become actually better. And I think that's what the last couple of months in Pro League have shown us, from playing Spain to then going to Germany and playing Netherlands, that we're making steps because we play these games, and the girls start understanding better what is needed to play these games mentally, but also physically, tactically. So I feel that, we can take a very young squad, of course, to Commonwealth Games, but I feel it's more important for our core group also to be able to perform at these high level tournaments where there's pressure and there's something at stake.
Okay. And talking about your journey, Annika, you took over as full-time coach after Tokyo. So how have been the last few months? How have you seen this team and the squad progress on the field and off the field?
Yeah, I think Tokyo perhaps gave our team the belief that we can actually win and we can actually play well against some of these countries. I do think that we have some steps to make and becoming more consistent in our performance. So when I took over, that was the main focus, to really hone in on, okay, who do we want to be out there on the field? What do the Indian women's team look like? With what mindset, with what mentality do we want to play? But also what principles? What do we want to do on the ball? What do we want to do defensively? Do we want to be a counter-attacking team, or do we actually want to create more? And I've had the girls have some input on that as well, combined with my philosophy and the DNA that hockey in India has, because I think you have a lot of qualities here that I would like to explore more, especially because other countries don't see it that often. And I think they struggle with that if you really play to your strengths.
Right. And talking about you, I wanted to ask, like, you've been in India for such a long time. Have you picked up on some Hindi?
Well, a little bit. I started using an app, so the girls always make a little bit fun of me, but I do understand some words. But then when I try to pronounce, they say I pronounce it wrong. So I forgot that I don't try. But I can pick up decent amount of words. So it's quite helpful for me because I coach, of course, in English, but they speak to each other in Hindi. And if I can follow the gist of the conversation on the field non-verbally and then picking up some words, then I can help them better. So yeah, a little bit.
So some words that you can tell us, like, can you pronounce some words?
Well, it's simple stuff like matlab means, huh? So
yes.
Now I know when they're asking a question, what they actually try to convey. Cello, go a little bit quicker. I know numbers, so that also helps.
That helps,
at times.
yes. On the field, yes.
Yeah, so.
Okay. And talking about hockey fives, I mean, it is a unique concept which is coming up in the world of hockey. I mean, I think I read that you've never coached a hockey five side. So how different is it from coaching an 11-a-side, and what kind of different things did you have to do?
Yeah, so I have never coached it. I did play in play and coached indoor hockey, which of course has a lot of similarities.
Yes.
Other than that, of course, you cannot hit. So the strategies and the tactical stuff is familiar. We were training the last week. We tried to use some boards. It's just a different awareness that the players need to have, and understanding, okay, I have boards, so I don't have to play my 1v1. I can use these boards as extra attackers, basically. And the ability for them to see that and manipulate the spaces. It's kind of interesting for me. That's why we picked some younger players and some players that have been in the core group for a longer time, but not necessarily playing in the 11v11 games, to see, can they make the next step with their performance.
Do you think Hockey Fives is going to be a younger players game rather than an experienced one?
It depends. Like it can be a quick game, and then if you're young, that might be a benefit. But I think, and again, if you're smart, then this is a good game for you. Ahead, Germany traditionally is very good in indoor. They are very smart. They understand tactically so well how to use the boards, how to create overloads. So my point would be maybe, but I think if you're tactically very good, I think you can actually be as old as you'd like to be.
Okay. And like hockey, FIH has already announced that the 2024 World Cup will be on the Hockey Fives format. So as a coach who's been in the business for such a long time, what is your view? Do you think this is the future of hockey? Like, can it replace 11-a-side in the long run?
I don't think so, because for me, I'm now coaching in a country that lives for hockey. Of course, hockey is a popular sport here, but I also come from a country where hockey is a very popular sport. And I'll say that I think in those core countries, Holland, Germany, Belgium, Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, India, hockey 11s will also always be that sport that will also always be the key component of hockey. I think Hockey Fives is a nice addition, and I think it gives some opportunity for countries that might not have the depth or might not have the resources to source an 11-player team or a 16-player team, and perhaps you'll see some diversity in the world top. But my thoughts will be that let's see, but I'd like to see it more as volleyball, where you have volleyball as a sport, and then beach volleyball was developed, and that's now their entire sport. So my hope is actually that it develops as two different entities, both with their pros and both exciting sports that people want to play and people want to watch.
Although it's not fair to compare hockey to cricket, but like, do you think it's like the T20 version and the tests version, something like that?
Yeah, I think I don't know too much about cricket, but I also know that there's certain players in cricket that are better suited to play the T20s or better to play the long series of the test matches. So I do think that players might start specializing. And I think it all will depend on how much Hockey Fives will be embraced by everyone in the world and how much exposure it will get. But let's see, like if I would be a player, or I go back to my days when I was playing, 11v11 was my core go-to, but in the 3 months in the winter, I never played with the national team who would go on winter trips to Argentina. I would always play indoor with the national team. So I love both and I wanted to do both. So let's see.
Okay. And lastly, can you talk about the upcoming few months for the women's team and your vision with this team?
Yeah, I think when I took over after Tokyo, we used the first months to kind of decide what do we want to be, how do we want to look. As I said before, I think Pro League has helped us the last couple of months to really pinpoint what do we need to improve in our game. And that's what we've been working real hard on the last 4 or 5 weeks. Next week, we're leaving for Pro League. Then we'll have 6 games that, of course, I always want to win, but we will always also use to see different players and to also see, okay, does our style of play work? Do we need to tweak certain things? Do we need to make some small adjustments so that when World Cup comes, we're ready to go from the first game? And yeah, I'm excited to see if we can perform in that environment. I think with pressure, it's always a different animal, but let's see. I feel like we're definitely heading in the right direction, and the girls are very keen to play and to play and do their own job. So that's what I'll be happy when in the next few months, weeks, we play to our potential. And if that means we win, great. And I think we will get very close to winning in most games. But if we'll lose because the other team is just better or does something better than us, I can live with that.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach, and wishing you and the team all the very best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.